What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Spencer doing an updated deck profile for Monarch Eldlich, and I have a whole bunch of extra gameplay videos. I talked about this in the description of the last video I did for this, saying that every time I pick it up, I'm like, this deck is not that good. I'm not going to win that many duels. And then I went over and over again. Like, this is a real coherent strategy. You get to do so many cool things, like if Magician Souls sends Curse to Eldlin plus Pantheism, you've just gone +4 in card advantage, right? And if it gets imperm, then you're still going +2, so you're still getting the same exact advantage you would, off of Magician Souls either way, but, potentially a +4 because you're drawing 2 cards, and, this can Foolish Burial. Now, if you even send a Scarlet searches before you draw a card, so you know you're not going to draw on anything that you don't want to, like not an extra Conquistador or something like that, which is even better. So these things have real synergy, and obviously when you send Pantheism, if you don't have any of the other Monarch spells in your hand, you can still get the search, which can be very super duper important. Okay, so we'll go into it. 2 Eldlich, I always run this whenever I play any Eldlich package. 2 Erebus, the 1 Caius. This card I go back and forth on, because when it's summoned, it has to banish a card. Meaning, if it's the only Monarch you have in your hand, you're going to have to banish one of your own cards, which, of course, you don't want to do. But being able to potentially banish 2 cards on the field is, like, almost too good, because if it's Tribute Summon using Magician Souls, more specifically, it does get that 2 banishes, because it is a dark monster. I wish there was a substitute for this card. I truly, truly do, because of how expensive it is. I found out it is getting a reprint in Brothers of Legend as a secret rare, unfortunately. So both copies as of right now are looking around $60, which is definitely more affordable. But do you want to spend $180 on Magician Souls to play Monarch Eldlich? Probably not, but at least it's a little more affordable now. I do run 2 of the Ether because you want to summon Ether off of Ether if you open it in your opening. That way, during your opponent's turn, you can go into, Luminous Lunar Dragon. I do run 1 Vanity's Ruler. It's like an awesome tech card if you draw it, but you don't want to draw too many copies of it. Like, these are kind of too important too, but, if you have it, you use it, because you may, basically what you're going to do is lock your opponent out of special summoning from the extra deck, lock your opponent out of activating monster effects, and then just straight up, they can't special summon. So you pretty much win the duel at that point, right? And I do Vanity's Ruler specifically because there's the one that I think is a level lower, or like a level 6, you only need 1 tribute, but it prevents both you and your opponent from special summoning, but you do want to special summon. Like, you have the Eldlich stuff, which is all about special summoning, so, yep. And then I talked about the Luminous Lunar Dragon. This card's great. Instead of calling this card Unicamouflite, apparently the TCG name, I didn't even know this came out, is Ancha Mofrite. Ancha Malfrit. What in the world is that? It's just an amalgamation of letters. But okay, sure. 2 copies of this. The 3 Magician Souls and the 2 Illusion of Chaos. This could easily be a couple of Palladium cards. I like Palladium Oracle Mahad. And the other one, I should be able to find it in like 2 seconds, is Oracle Mana, because it lets you special summon the card when it's targeted. So if they target your Magician Souls, you get 2 bodies on the board to tribute summon. And also, if you draw into this, it's a free one. So I usually like to run 1 of each, and if it battles a dark monster, which is like one of the most popular archetypes, it goes up to 5,000 attack. It's okay. It's okay. So this isn't the end of the world, but this is definitely have to be in here, like I talked about. The 3 Pantheism, of course, is so great. Like, just drawing 2 cards and being able to search is incredible, and being able to send it is also really good. 1 Tenacity of the Monarch, 1 Monarch Stormforth. So these are just like your emergency buttons, and they do seem silly, but every once in a while these cards actually do come up. To get rid of those cards that just you're unaffected, not unaffected by card effects, obviously, but can't be targeted, can't be destroyed. Erebus technically does that too, but you never know. I like to have this card, and the reason why I run Tenacity is because you may want to search this out, and I only run 2 Domain. So if you didn't open any and you're able to search off a Pantheism and you have a monster in hand, you can do Tenacity plus 2 Domain. Then you can search it if you want to. That's kind of the idea behind that. Or if you already have Domain, Tenacity, you can also search you whatever else you may need. Maybe another Pantheism. You get the idea. And then the 2 Cursed Eldlin, used to run this at 3, but it's okay at 2, honestly. The engine is so self-sustaining. It's not, super duper important to see it in your opening. 2 Domain, like I just talked about. 3 Infinite Impermanence. This card is kind of the star of the deck, and luckily it's, way more affordable now, certainly. You can grab 3 copies of this, which is great. Being able to, again, like, you want this deck to be as versatile as possible, and it is. So being able to set this card and potentially negate a face-up spell or trap that's like killing you is just too important. It's like, this card is so good. It also plays around triple attack, which you gotta appreciate. And then the 3 Scarlet Sanguine, 2 Conquistador, 1 Hakero, and 1 Golden Land Forever. This is the golden ratio for Eldlich, I'm telling you. This is the best, objectively correct, for everything in the Eldlich engine. It's just, to me, though, it's just how I play it, and it seems to work out pretty well. The 3 Monarchs Erupt. I think this card is like better than Domain of the Monarchs for a lot of reasons. It's more ubiquitously good for archetypes that don't depend on going into the extra deck as much. Also, if you can activate this during the standby phase of your opponent's turn. So if they do end up getting rid of the monster, all of their effects are still negated because you have until the end of your turn. So you activate it during your opponent's turn. They get rid of the monster that was tribute summoned. That's completely fine because as long as you can tribute summon your next turn, this card is still alive. And we all know that skill drain is limited to 1 for a reason. And that's what this card does. And then I do run to the Prime Monarch. Just being able to tribute summon is so good. Being able to send it off of the Pantheism is amazing. Being able to send it off of Magician's Soul is also really good. And it just facilitates a lot of your plays. Also, the draw effect is okay. Like, especially if you have to start in the later stages of the game, if you have to dump a bunch of these into the graveyard and you kind of want to recycle them, like this card's able to do that. Onto the side, I run 1 Dark Simorgh. If you can believe it, this card actually does fulfill the requirements for Ether, meaning that if you're going first, you're playing a trap-heavy deck that wants to set up, or like try to, you can actually activate Ether, special summon this out, and they cannot set cards for their turn. It's a random tech card, but I feel like it's like a dual-winning thing. Every once in a while, it just depends. It's just a good card to have on the side, in my opinion. 3 Kaijus, again, like, I recently played like that water deck that goes into that Exceed monster that's unaffected by card effects, and then it had like one of the sharks as materials, and then it can't be destroyed by battle, which leaves me in a really bad spot. I thought I could tribute, with the Monarch Stormforth, but yeah, it's completely unaffected by card effects. So that's a very, very, very specific scenario where that's used, but there's probably a million other cases where the Kaiju may be really necessary. Maybe you're playing Drytron, right, and you need to get over that Herald. Like, that's another use of this. Like, you don't have a lot of spots, like if you're going first and you can take out something like the Monarch Stormforth, if you're not playing an extra deck heavy strategy, you can take out Domain of the True Monarchs, all that kind of stuff. But mostly it's going to be this infinite impermanent spot. And again, like, this is a casual strategy, so there's only so much room for hand traps here. A lot of it goes into the draw engine of the deck. Okay, and then the 3 Dark Ronomore, 3 Droll Knockbird, 3 Artifact Lancey, and a couple of Nibiru's. Pretty good stuff there. So, okay, we'll go right into the gameplay. Like I said, I do have a lot. And I've never, like, this deck, people just, like, rage quit a lot on. Just because they're just not expecting it. Again, I talked about this in the last video, but, we're in a format right now where people are not main decking Spell and Trap Bait. So, you have a major advantage. And this deck's actually pretty decent going second, surprisingly, for decks that aren't meta. So, you're basically going to be able to draw a billion times always. That's what the whole deck is centered around. So you're getting your Eldlich stuff, you're getting your Monarch stuff. He did have the Torrential Tribute, and this looks like a duel that you would never think like that I would be able to win, right? Because it's Altergeist, they got to go first, but the Impermanence came up clutch. I did draw the second copy of Infinite, so I got a little lucky there, to be honest with you. But, okay, I mean, my plays technically haven't started yet. I still am, like, establishing the board. This is online now, luckily. And I think during this duel specifically, why am I setting these zones for Unicama Flight, right? It's like, I'm going to call it this, by the way. I'm not calling it Antrimafrofrit, however you say it. I actually activated Hakero just to activate Hakero so I can get this zone open. That's just bad zone placement by me, but I'd say it'd be cool because it's like, oh, like, you can use it to tribute summon, but I didn't need to. I ended up setting it so it was an upstart Goblin with Magician's Ult. It worked out in the end, but yeah. Shouldn't use up the Pendulum zones. And at this point, both of these were banished, so I couldn't use them anymore. So it's fine to use it now. I'm like so trained to be afraid of Mech Knights, even though I knew I wasn't playing it, right? It's just crazy. I could have actually popped with the Conquistador there, but I had set him up, so no going into the extra deck, no monster effects on the field, And just like that, I kind of won the duel. This is Despia. I get to go first. As you might imagine, this has a very good matchup against Despia, which is good because it's a very popular archetype. It's getting a ton of new support and a lot of good support too. I talked about that interaction, during the deck profile. And you can activate this, like during the draw phase or standby phase to make sure that your negate is online, especially if it's a lightning storm. That's the really important part about that. I only have one Omni negate, but I'm just going to wait until he probably goes into the field spell. There it goes. Because if you can't fusion summon, you can't play. He's going to get over the Magician's Souls. I do have the Scarlet, so that's pretty nice. And I can send the Prime Monarch to the graveyard with Eldlich, which is very cool. Although I misplayed so bad here. I'm telling you, this deck bails me out way more often than I deserve it to be. Why would I special summon Eldlich, right? I have Domain here. This is a fusion summoning deck. Let me take this to the hand, and then I can activate Scarlet, special summon the other one from the deck, right? Use the effect of Monarch Stormforth, get rid of his, whatever this is, like one of the Despia monsters, probably this one. And then he's domain locked, so I should have just lost this duel, and I didn't. I mean, I do have a Conquistador pop, so if he has another field spell, like, that's okay. Although he smartly grabs the Branded in red, he goes for the Despian Querturus. I don't know how to say any of these cards' names. I sound so stupid. He tries to go into Predaplant Red Anaconda, but of course I'm going to pop that to prevent that from happening. He gets over this. That's quite fine. During the end phase, go ahead and special summon another Eldlich. Get it out of the deck. I can activate the effect of Scarlet in the graveyard. I was going to be able to normal summon this time, so again, it's just really bad plays by me. I'm going second again, so plenty of going second duels to show you guys here. Fusion Destiny, this deck plays really well around that too. Eldlich is able to send from the hand, and if they were just to activate, Fusion Destiny pass, that's even better, because Eldlich sends, right? And they have to pop another card on the field, so they're probably going -2 there. And it's not like if they did the Artifact Lancia combo, obviously it doesn't do anything. A lot of good draws here. Erebus can come down. Erebus can shuffle this back into the extra deck. He won't be able to use Fusion Destiny again, of course. Then he won't be able to go into the extra deck. Monarch's Erupt is also here. So if this did end up going to the graveyard, however the case may be, even if it came back during the standby phase, you can activate Monarch's Erupt, because yeah, well, it would come back during the standby phase too. So, but it's good stuff. I was gonna shuffle it back into the extra deck anyways. Here is the a Dogmatica Ritual deck, which is pretty interesting actually. It's literally based all around that, which is awesome because I love those ritual monsters. Although the other one stinks really badly. Okay, the Infinite Impermanence comes down. So I've talked about this before. At least the Conquistador is still going to give me advantage. All I was losing was an Upstart Goblin. I didn't open very well, but I do have the 2 Infinite Impermanence. It's probably going to come up here. And yeah, so the White Knight of Dogmatica cannot use its effect, although I play into it. Kind of silly, but it ended up not being the worst thing in the world. So I don't want him to be able to get, the Dogmatic Punishment or Fleur or something like that. Fleur actually wouldn't do anything because there's no monster from the extra deck here. Alright, so I can send out Caro, Unicamuflight. I do now have a monster in the extra deck, so he can activate the White Knight, which is funny. He's going to pop the Magician's Souls. It's okay. I definitely won't let that happen again. He goes for the Dogmatica Ritual spell, a pure Dogmatica deck. That's really cool. I've thought about doing that, but that's kind of like where I started when I was doing the Drytron Dogmatica build. I started with that idea, and then I was like, wait, most of the Dogmatica cards stink. So this can't be destroyed by card effects, which is pretty cool. It's like a big kind of beefy body. Elder's going to pop. I'll go ahead and negate this too. He surrenders. Can't go into Trental Tribute this turn. Not that it could be destroyed by card effects anyways. But yeah, he was just... I was starting to take over this duel a little bit, Here's a dragon deck. Their first turn isn't anything great, that's for sure. The Fantastical Dragon Phantasme obviously is not going to be doing anything in this duel. I think he goes ahead and send it to the graveyard, which is pretty smart there. I don't know what he's doing. The duel ends up getting more interesting later on, so it's why I ended up saving it. Because he's going to go into number 97. I think he may have just ordered this wrong. He probably wanted to go into the number 38, if I was guessing. Not that my hand wasn't already cracked because I'm going to be able to send Pantheism and Scarlet. Scarlet can search. Almost always going to search, well, almost always I normally search the Golden Land Forever for the Omni Negate to protect myself, but because I don't have any monsters to tribute summon, the pop is a little more important, probably. If I was able to tribute summon, you know, I want to protect the Monarch's Erupt more, but yeah. Okay, so we went ahead and banished the Scarlet, which is kind of unfortunate. I'm going to go ahead and protect myself here because I do want to search this during the end phase, another Scarlet. I can activate Magician's Souls. I'm probably going to be sending the Stormforth and the Infinite Impermanence. At this point, it's not that important. I'm just worried about tribute summoning right now. Draw a couple more cards. There we go. There goes the Domain. Unicamify, I think, draws me into an Erebus. I already had the Caius to tribute summon, but this is just a little bit better because it gives you follow-up next play. You get to shuffle a card back into the deck. And I can activate the Monarch's Erupt. Yeah, I didn't. I should have looked at his graveyard a little bit more because of Return of the Dragon Lords. He can get over this now, but I think he ends up just kind of like scooping because he just goes to the end phase. The 800 boost only happens, you know, when you attack. But all's well that ends well. I was gonna be able to tribute summon next turn anyways. It didn't make a difference in the end. And I'll tribute the Caius. Caius can go ahead and banish the number 97. Eldlich can probably go ahead and bring itself back onto the board. I'll probably Foolish Barrel the other Eldlich so I don't draw into it. The duel's over, so don't have to think that far ahead, right? And we can go into Fallen of Albaz again. Talked about how good this is. Nibiru is not doing anything against this deck. And I have a good opening too. I'm going to go ahead and special summon this. Probably dump the Hakero because I want to keep the Conquistador. This is going to give me a Scarlet for an interruption next turn. Ether can summon an Ether. This is going to get returned to the hand. I can go ahead and use the effect of the Prime Monarch because why not? And there we go. I got a pop and another, you know, it's a domain lock too. And the fact that he didn't open, you know, Spell and Trap Hate is just super beneficial to me. And I'm going to go ahead and just dump a couple cards. Go ahead and go into Erebus because I can, you know, use it next turn. Yeah. Look at it. I mean, you just get so much advantage in this duel. Like, all, like, Monarch and Eldlich, they give you advantage. That's the whole idea. Like, you're just going to out-resource your opponent. That's kind of why you play the deck. And he surrenders. Like, what are you going to do? I'm not playing... Well, I can't play Nibiru. I can't special summon 5 times during a turn. Here's Fluunderese. You would think this is an awkward matchup, and it really, really is. He beat me game 1, and you're going to see game 2 here. He ended up, like, quitting. I was actually kind of interested in playing the last duel, at least from what I remember. I don't remember going into a game 3. He's super bricked, luckily. Really, I think a lot of it comes from the fact that he's playing over... Is he playing over 40 cards, or is he just right at it? I think he's playing a little over 40. I don't know. I'm not a... Sometimes I go over 40, but it's actually not really a great idea. Like, maybe 41 or 42, but once you go over, like, 45 and 50, those are just really awkward. All right, I just want to, you know, go ahead and protect my Monarch's Erupt here, of course. I can go ahead and set a Conquistador. I'm going to get over the Wind Barrier statue. He did brick pretty bad, like, in his defense, you know. But if you were to draw into something, like... nothing's going to happen. Magician's Souls, although I think I may just send the Pantheism. Draw 1 card. Pantheism searches. Cursed Eldlin. That's awesome, man. That's really cool. Here's Frogs. Pretty sure. Or it's like Mermail Frogs. Once again, these are all great. Golden Land Forever. Hopefully I draw into a monster. I do. It was a little bold of me to draw a couple cards considering I already had Domain, but I drew another Domain, which is pretty nice. And I'm going to go ahead, I think, and set the Prime Monarch here because when I tribute summon again, I'm going to be sending 2 more of these traps. So I can actually, you know, shuffle them back into the deck after I tribute summon and then draw a card. And then next turn, you know, I can tribute it off the field with Eldlich. Because normally afterwards it's going to be like pretty dead, but Eldlich kind of makes it so it's like even more useful than before. I should not have been in this duel like at all. So we'll see what happens. I figured he's going to go into Isolde and then just go full combo with a bunch of negates, and I would have been... Well, actually, I would have been fine, because I did have the infinite impermanence. It shows how good this card is, right? But he actually does go into some Goki plays, and then goes into Isolde. And the first effect of Isolde is fine. The second effect is definitely where I'm going to be stopping him. Being able to search out cards is just a little too good. Although I don't know what rank 1 target he was going to go for. Oh, maybe the... That makes sense. But that's fine. So he has the Ash Blossom, which stinks because it would have been actually a really nice form of disruption here. And I have nothing. So the only thing I have is a body to protect myself from him going for game. And we'll see if he's able to kill me, but I don't think he is. Or at the very least, I'm able to time Conquistador at the very last second. If this was a Phoenix and a Nightmare Phoenix and he popped Conquistador, the duel would have been over. Now, does he run Nightmare? No, he doesn't. He doesn't run Phoenix. Kind of sus, in my opinion. Alright, so this is going to go into the big Goki, and I make another misplay. I just remembered in this duel. Reading is super hard, right? Like, reading is so difficult, but it's still very important. That was a really, really sick rip off the top. Because Erebus is going to come down. I try to shuffle this back. It's unaffected by card effects with monsters with less attack. And then I could have negated it to... Yeah. What are you going to do? That doesn't protect it from battle. It actually just protects it, like, the damage. So the card effect is pretty useless. Look, I won the duel, but I just shouldn't have done that. Just silly stuff by me. This was a great match. I ended up losing, but man, was it entertaining. The new Ice Shade stuff, I'm so super duper impressed with. The field spell is just sick. And the new Ice Shade cards, like, this card is just so hard to get rid of. If it's attacked, first of all, when it's normal or special summon, adds an Ice Shade spell or trap. When it's targeted for attack, or like any card effect, you get to special summon a water monster from your hand or graveyard. And a lot of the Ice Shade cards just do a lot of really cool stuff. So this negates face-up cards on the field. That's alright, because it's still going to search me. It's like literally no difference. And we're going to go ahead and tribute summon there. He can't go into the extra deck. I don't know how important that is, but it should be okay for now. The Monarch's Erupt is like way better. I have to get rid of this Ice Jade Erosion. That's like super duper important. He's going to try to return this to the hand. I will make him miss timing because Ether... That card is just awesome, right? He's going to go ahead and negate there. So I don't get the Eldlich. Lunar can come down. I can steal one of his monsters at 900 attack, which is pretty cool. He's going to try to target there. He's going to go for Forbidden Droplets, but I'm like pretty okay with that interaction, to be honest with you. Like, losing a Forbidden Droplets just for Lunar Dragon feels pretty good. This is going to lose attack once again, but now the Monarch's Erupt can come down, so that's going to help me a whole lot. I have a Conquistador pop. I have the Monarch's Erupt. Like, this is going to be pretty good. So he's going to try to chain. I'm going to chain there. Monarch's Erupt comes down last. Like, I don't even know what happened in this chain, right? Like, this is so confusing. So we're going to go to the end phase. That was like one of the highest chains I've ever had when dueling in Yu-Gi-Oh! Because I think at the end he couldn't, because he sent off a Forbidden Droplets, he couldn't destroy, because Ice Jade Erosion destroys the Ice Jade. It doesn't like send it or anything like that. And the Ice Jade monsters have effects, when they're destroyed, which is why this card does that, but it ended up working out for me. The Forbidden Droplets wasn't going to do anything. I was able to make a really nice chain there, because I knew he had this card, and like get through it. Here's Melfi Tri-Brigade. Why they're playing this in casual, I don't know. Because he is playing Tri-Brigade stuff, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, like this is pretty standard. Well, that's a lie. This is not a standard extra deck for Tri-Brigades. Now, are they running Revolt? That's the question. They are running Revolt, so this is pretty interesting. I guess this isn't technically meta. Melfi isn't super good. I go ahead and tribute summon there because I want to be able to send Foolish Burialist to the graveyard. I'm going to be able to go over this, but yeah, the Monarch's Erupt is still online. That's what makes this card so good. Because this is going to come to my hand, during the end phase. I can activate the effect of Conquistador. And that's going to let me tribute summon the Erebus. I'd probably shuffle a card from his hand. That's kind of how I would go about it, but yeah. Here is that frog deck or mermail deck that I was talking about. This is the other duel in that match. And I figured like I was done for because I don't have any hand traps, and I figured he's gonna go into like Christian Halley 5 racks and combo off, but he actually does leave the door open for me. This mermail card negates a spell effect, so I tried to bait out that effect specifically. I'm gonna go ahead and send a couple of those, which is very cool. Yeah, like it doesn't negate and destroy. So when you activate a field spell, it negates it, but it doesn't actually negate it, if that makes sense. So that was just 500 IQ play. Kind of unfortunate for the dude, but yeah. Cannot draw. Well, I couldn't draw into a monster, but yes, you can tribute summon Eldlich. Like it's not a real big issue. And the cool thing is that you can also send, with Eldlich, activate the effect to add it back to your hand. Get the advantage off the Cursed Eldlin, but you don't have to special summon it, right? Just go for the normal summon at some point. He does destroy the Golden Land forever, but I am still going to be able to normal summon here, and then the Monarch's Erupt comes down next turn. RIP in peace. Here is Ninjas. Sure, why not? Not a great opening at all. These infinite permanents is going to have to like win me the duel, kind of, or help me survive. Although I technically, at least I have bodies, to go through. I'll negate this. He has 4 back row, so I got a lot to chew through. But I can send, the Eldlich, which is pretty nice. He's going to take control of it, but yep, I'm going to get it right back. And I gave him the choice of the 2 traps or Pantheism because I wanted to draw 2. A couple of Solemns there. He's really fighting through it, but yes, Hakero is going to give me a Scarlet, so I do have the Conquistador next turn. And I think I still have the follow-up with Pantheism too, so I'm going to be able to get the field spell because I can do the 2 field spells plus the one that searches. I have the body, the 2800 and 1000 defense body to search it, so it was like checkmate, right? Here we go again. This hand is super duper cracked. And Cursed Eldlin can give me a Golden Land forever since my combo is already like, full send here. And you can start the Cursed Eldlin plus the Pantheism. Domain can come down. I'm not going to be able to like use the effect to reduce this level, but it's okay because I have 2 bodies on board. Pantheism can search me again. I could have gone for Erebus to shuffle a card back into his hand, and I may have done that if it wasn't for Vanity's Ruler. Like this card is just too high impact. This is going to search him like something. Ice Dragon's Prison. Sure. Although I don't really like. I have a fairy. Like I don't have any other fairies in the deck, so he's not getting rid of this. He can't even special summon. Never mind. Like there's nothing he can do. That's it. That's the end of the game. But yeah, that was another long extended look at Monarch Eldlich. Really love this deck, and hopefully soon to be more affordable. But it's so close to being there. It is pretty much affordable now. It's like $200. What are you gonna do? Like more like 150. All the other cards are so cheap. But yeah, other than that, that's gonna do it for today's video, and I'll see you guys next time.